Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be back in January now. It's almost the end of January, but this year in 2022 for Gab with Garima, it is so nice to talk to all of you and to see all of you again. So we really appreciate it. Today I happen to be down in our Miami office, so I've got the Villa Genie sign behind me, and we've had a great week of quarterly planning and all kinds of really fun stuff. But what we're really talking about today is the rise of the gig economy. And the gig economy, when we talk about kind of what is that gig economy and what does it mean and what does it mean to you, um, it's kind of, I don't know, a lot of people don't even know what that means. But as employers, a lot of people have been telling me, I have a lot of friends who own businesses, oh my God, it's so hard to hire people and people don't value loyalty anymore. And I can't get someone who sticks around and those kinds of things. So let's think back as to what this brought, what made this happen? Where did this come from? So, I think that we can all think of those 1950s black and white sitcoms where someone comes home or the father comes home after working a long day. It's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. He just wants to put his feet up and eat. And all he does is he works all day. And on the weekend, he's so exhausted from working all day that he's not able to spend any time with his family, right? And we kind of grew up seeing that. And I think a lot of our parents maybe were thinking about this idea of working 20, 30, 40 years, getting a gold watch, getting that Rolex, retiring, and being so, happy about doing so. But it's really hard to want people to do that today because that's not really that exciting. I mean, would you want to do that? Would you want to work 20, 30, 40 years just to enjoy your retirement at the end when maybe you're too old to enjoy it? Right. So as employers, we need to embrace that. I remember when I first started working and I would every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I would start a new position. And it was because I was recruited into a higher level position and that was great. And I remember my father saying, what are you doing? Oh my God, like, why are you changing jobs and what's happening? And, this was a major issue because he didn't understand where I was coming from or why I was doing that. And I remember telling him, no, that's just the way that it is. And that's how the economy works. And I get better positions and you keep moving up. You hit a glass ceiling, you move up and you go to another company. And that was really hard for him to understand. So every generation, we kind of have this change from what is the traditional, what is how people should work, how do we recruit them, how do we bring them in, what is the benefits for them to work here, and then how long will they stay, why will they stay, what brings them to stay, and how do we ensure long-term fulfillment. So back in those kind of black and white sitcom days, the reason why people went to a position was stability, loyalty. I work hard, I get my check, I build my retirement. That's what I'm working for. That is the reason that I'm working. That is, I provide for my family, and those are the kinds of things. When I was growing up, it became more about I want career advancement, I want fulfillment, I want to make sure that I'm challenged. And that's really where we started seeing that people working for 2 to 5 years in a stint and then moving to their next positions because they were seeing that kind of upward mobility. In recent years, we've seen a lot of this where people are coming in, you look at someone's resume, it's been 6 months here, 1 year there. And now employers are talking about, oh my God, it's so hard to hire. I mean, I know we've been looking to fill positions, and a lot of people say, oh, it's because of COVID and that's why nobody wants to work. And I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that it has anything to do. I think the pandemic probably accelerated the growth of the gig economy, but I don't think that it is the reason why we have it. I mean, even if you look back into 2008 or 2009 during the recession, so many jobs were lost and so many people who had those very, very stable 20, 30, 40-year jobs, those jobs were lost. And that's where we see some of the start of that gig economy, although it was there prior to that as well. So what does this mean? What does it mean for you if you're an employer, if you're an employee? What does it mean? Why does this matter, right? What do you really value? What's interesting, we talk about the gig economy in 2017, so before the pandemic, 36%, it's a huge number of workers in the United States actually worked in the gig economy. So 1 out of 3 people who were working worked in that gig economy, worked in that contract model. So that's such a huge number. And how do we continue that? How do we ensure that we're embracing that as employers? So as an employer, what does that mean for you? right? As an employer, you are looking to find the best people. And you might say, I want someone, I want to train them, I want them to be great, I want them to be here for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years because I've spent all this time, money, energy, bringing them on, investing in them, training them, getting them to be great. And now they're leaving and I don't know why they're leaving and I don't know how to keep them. And oh my God. And so the employers will say, they just have no loyalty. People have no loyalty anymore. It's not that, it's that they value freedom more. Freedom is more important than loyalty. Having the ability to have a work life balance, having the ability to pursue personal goals, the ability to be part of charitable ideas, like that's more important. And I think if you look at anybody who, even yourself, that's important. Not that you don't want the stability, not that you don't want the long term career, you don't want to provide for your family, you don't want a great retirement, but you think about that need for travel. And what's made this easier is it's easy to work remotely. You can work from anywhere. You can have your laptop, you can have your phone, and you can literally work from anywhere. So a lot of people post COVID, their employers have said, oh, you have to come back to the office. And I've heard this from a lot of potential candidates who say, I'm looking for a job right now because I got to work remote for the past 2 years and now I can't anymore. They want me to come back to the office and I don't understand. So employers, why do you want them to come back to the office? What is the benefit of someone being in the office? I'll tell you today, I'm down in our office in Miami and we have, 12 of our employees here today. And it's great. It's awesome to have that energy, that collaboration, that feeding off of each other, that learning through osmosis is fantastic, but it is not necessary every day. Actually, it's been proven that people who work remotely are often more productive than those who are working in the office because there's less time for social. There's no driving. There's none of that frustration back and forth. They're not spending a ton of money on food. They're able to eat what they want. They're able to be around. They're not spending additional money on childcare because maybe their kids are at home watching television or doing whatever they need to. So remote workers are generally have been found to be more productive than employees in the office. So if you're an employer listening to this, be okay with remote work. And now I know that that's not possible in every position, right? You own a retail location, you own a restaurant, you have a brick and mortar business. I understand that you need to have people there. But at the same time, understanding that people are looking for that kind of flexibility in working remotely is really important. And adjusting what you're doing, looking at the position that you're recruiting for and saying, hey, do I actually need this person in the office or can they be working from someplace else? Does it matter to me? What is the reason why I am asking this person to come in today? So that's the first thing for the employer. The next thing is build an amazing culture. Make people want to be there. No one's going to stay anymore just because they have a job. You are not the only gig in town. There are so many people hiring. There are so many people looking for great jobs. What makes what you do unique? Why is your company the best fit for them? And I think a lot of that comes back to being clear around your own corporate values. And these are not just things like, oh, we value honesty, which, yes, we absolutely value honesty, but these are not just words on a wall or sayings. These are true corporate values that define your culture. For example, some of ours, our get shit done right, own it, catch up, believe in the genie, class shines. Those are our corporate values. And we hire and fire by those corporate values. Because if someone is not looking for a really fast paced, passionate environment, they're probably not the right fit for us. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that they're a bad employer, that we're a bad company, but it's that idea of creating those corporate values and living by them and being very clear. So you're finding the right person who actually embraces and wants to be part of that. So building that culture is extremely important. And it's not just about talking about values, but it's truly embodying those values. It's making sure that you are building the culture that you would want to be part of. And that could be different for every single company, how you do it, what you do, whether you have a casual culture, you like to play games, whether you're super professional and everybody's buttoned up, it doesn't matter. But that culture needs to be yours and it needs to be a unique differentiator. And that's really, really, really important. The other thing is being flexible. If someone's getting their job done, do you care how many hours they work? This idea of clocking in at 9 and clocking out at 5 and being available all through that is kind of out the window, right? I can tell you that if there's an emergency, if there's a subscriber contacting us and they need something, it doesn't matter if it's after 5 because we're going to respond. We're going to be there. We're going to respond. But if it's 9 o'clock in the morning and no one's calling us and we don't have an issue, and you know we've hit all of our sales numbers and we've hit the revenue, we've done all those things, it's okay if someone wants to go do something else, right? So really understanding again that position that you're recruiting for, and why is it necessary that someone clocks in and clocks out. I'd rather have people who are more efficient with their time, who work smart, not hard, who can get through the things that we need them to get through quickly and efficiently, so they do get that balance of life and everything else that they're looking for, because that's what's going to keep them there long term. So ensuring that you understand that flexibility. The next thing is benefits. Offer your team great benefits. This starts with time off. 2 weeks of time off for most people. If you think that we work for 52 weeks a year, people have Christmas breaks, kids have Christmas breaks, there's summer breaks, there's all kinds of things. That's not a lot, right? Sometimes people just need a couple days. They need, a mental health day, whatever the case may be, right? So that's great. That's fine. But like, allow that. Be okay with that. Like here at Billergy, we actually have an unlimited PTO policy. So as long as you let the manager know and what you need to do is taken care of, and it was done 2 weeks in advance, you requested it, then great. Allow your people to get the time and the energy that they need to build themselves back up to be the most productive employee that they can possibly be. We have a question. Audrey, what is the best way to build culture when you have remote workers? So this is a great question. It's actually something that I struggled with a lot when we first went remote. And I've always worked remote just because in my position, but we've always had people in the office. So we've built a lot of things in the office, like, oh, we'll have a field day, we'll do this. So that was how we built culture. And then all of a sudden we were remote, we didn't know how to do that. So I would say, one, still allowing that time for face-to-face, whether that's once a quarter, twice a year, whatever is available. I think that removing any face-to-face time completely is a big mistake. I think having some face-to-face time is important even for remote workers, and it's how your company decides to do that. But it's really important to get people in the same room so they can build that culture, because obviously often what happens is we just talk to people on the phone or we see each other through a computer and we don't really build that connection. So having that one-to-one connection, going to dinner with a group of people, having a fun activity. So last night our leadership team was all together and we did product road mapping. And so in the evening we all did axe throwing together, and it's just a fun thing to do to bring people together. The other thing that we've done is we have our staff meetings every morning, and we have different things that we do. So we play games together, we put people on teams. We've also set up this thing called Meet 3, which has actually been really interesting, where each person is paired with a different person for a 2-week period, and totally different functions. They might not work with each other, but they have these 3 kind of random questions that they have to get to know about each other. So what was the name of your first car? If you want a deserted island, what would you take with you? Things like what song best describes you, right? So like really building that culture in that. We've also done a music video totally remotely, and that was really fun. If you haven't seen it, go to billergy.com and cringe really badly because it's not great. And Audrey, I totally agree though that if you hire the right people, you don't have to manage all their time, and absolutely setting those measurable goals, which Zoe is going to get to next. The other thing is that you have to do as an employer is not just set measurable goals, but set a company goal and vision and be true to it. Often when people are working in a contract or gig economy state, they're lonely. They don't have something that they're all pushing towards. They're not rowing in the same direction because maybe they do some consulting for one company and they work for another company and they do these different things, but they don't get that feeling or sense of team and collaboration where we're all going in the same direction. So being very clear about, this is our company mission, this is our vision, this is how we're going to get there, and this is where you play a part. This is how you, as part of our team, are going to ensure that we get there together. And that's really important for people because they're looking for ways to be part of something. They want to be, humans are social animals, right? We need to feel wanted. We need to feel part of a community. We need to feel that sense of society. So giving people a long goal that you're going to as a company, and then breaking that down for every single person in the organization so that they know what their value is, what their specific measurable, their specific goal is to get the company there, right? So there's this great story, and I think I might have shared it on a random Gap with Garima, a while ago, but there's a great story about a janitor who worked at NASA. And one day someone was walking by him and said, what do you do and why do you do this? He's like, well, I do my job so that we can get a man to the moon. And it's like, but okay, but you're the janitor. And he said, yeah, but I know that if I don't do my job well and the floor is sticky and the astronauts trip and they aren't able to do what they need to do, then we don't get a man to the moon. So my job is vitally important. It is really important that I make sure that these floors are not sticky, they're not slick, they're totally clean so the astronauts can get to where they need to get to so they can do their training and we can get a man to the moon. And I just think that that is such an impactful story because it really talks about how each person in a team makes the biggest difference. And if you don't let your team members know that every single day, if they don't know where they fit in the cog of your company, if they don't know which cog they are in the big wheel of your company, you're kind of missing out. So I hope that that helps. I don't think the gig economy is going anywhere. I think as employers, we have to embrace it and we have to talk about what are some of the things, why would someone want to work for you and give up that I can work from wherever. I work 5 hours a week. How do you get that person to then want to take a full-time job with you? What makes you different? And really understanding the mentality of people really wanting that freedom, that creativity, that need for society, that need for teamwork is what's going to make all the difference. So I hope that that helps. And I look forward to talking to you guys all very soon. Thank you.